Hello everybody, welcome back to Endy's Campfire. We're back here with some more Week 1 qualifier games. Today we have Seraphim versus Divine Dead. First up with the nurse on Father Campbell's Chapel. This is Seraphim's pick. Team Seraphim did pick the nurse here, so we have them on the killer side here versus Divine Dead's survivors. And we are blinking up on this hill, trying to find the survivor out, and we do find Lara Croft here on the edge map. We're only about 30 seconds into the trial, we can tell with the corrupt intervention. Looks like this is a sprint first, but a very early first tag still coming in. Very good patience by our nurse player here to confirm this tag on the second blink. And Lara's only option here is really to die as far bottom as she can. A little bit zoned here, not much to break line of sight with, and she will be dying near this edge map structure here in the corner. And that was a relatively fast first down. I believe that came in before the 1 minute mark. And we do have two survivors doubling main building, while we have our deliverance player stealthing on the bottom right side of the map for this unhook. And it actually looks like our nurse is hooking right next to our deliverance player. Are we trying to take a hit to deny the hook? Oh, I'm not quite sure what the game plan here is from these Divine Dead survivors, because now our deliverance player gets caught at the hook and they have to overcome away. I'm very surprised our nurse isn't committing to that. I would commit to that in a heartbeat. I think it gets the deliverance player, but Zarina is the medkit survivor. She is healing herself off in the distance, so we could potentially see her get healthy and then come back in for that unhook later on. We are laying down a kick on this generator. We do have Call of Brine and Eruption, so more passive regression over time the longer these gens regress. And maybe an eruption later. This main building generator is very high progress, about 90-95%. And now we are having that Call of Brine come in onto it. About 30-35 seconds into this hook stage timer, our Lara Croft is still sitting on hook. And I do wonder what our deliverance player is doing. We have two survivors splitting generators, ignoring main for now. And then we have Zarina trying to sneak in for this unhook. If Zarina is able to get this for free, that would be a very, very good play on the survivor's end. And she actually gets it for free. This is huge for Divine Dead. We got this unhook only taking an injury for it. So Zarina doesn't even have to trade and stay down on the ground. But our nurse player here, I think maybe trying to deny Deli hit through the bar of time, but Lara doing a very good job doubling back into the shack pile. Definitely lasts for that safe unhook for deliverance now. And if you're a nurse player, it's not looking so great right now. That was such a strong start, but now survivor has so much distance on you, and you pretty much have to commit to this if you want to get a tunnel out. Does spot her out on this rock though. I lost track of Lara. I thought she kept going up the map, but our nurse, none the wiser, does catch her trying to sneak behind that rock. And we do see the aura reading from Eruption come in. Very good first blink to set up for that second blink down onto Zarina. Now the momentum is shifting back towards our killer's favor. We do have a survivor on the ground, and looks like there is no decisive strike on Lara Croft. That will be her second hook stage, while we have a slug up in the main building. So these survivors on Divine Dead need to either get a lot of generator progress for this last hook stage, or Lara needs to put on the chase for life and juice for a while. But that being said, main building did get hit by Eruption, and it is regressing even more. What was once about to pop, not quite as high progress as it was before. Nancy doing a good job baiting that unhook, and actually says, I don't want to unhook this, which I do think is a good heads-up play to run away from that. If you trade right now, it pretty much guarantees you're entering the 3v1 with Lara dying, because this would be a very early pull. So if you're on the survivor side now, I think your priority should be to try and get as much generator progress as you can in the distance, while unhooking this as late as possible. You want to milk this hook stage as long as you can, and not try and pull too early. This 3v1 is okay to go into on Nurse. She, although is an S tier killer with pretty much the best chase in the game, second to none really, she does have that going for her, but not as much map pressure or mobility. So entering the 3v1 is not the end of the world, but ideally you want to do it while you've popped most of the generators. If you can enter this 3v1 on the survivor side with one generator remaining and deliverance still up, that is a pretty okay position to be in. Not a bad thing at all. And we do have Nancy trading here. We don't have any unbreakable or tenacity on her, so she will have to be picked up by one of her teammates eventually. And now Lara is running for her life, trying to just waste time away from all the generators. Death spots right now don't really matter a whole lot because this is Laura's final chase, but if she's able to die very far away, it's still helpful because when the nurse picks her up and hooks her, by the time she gets that elimination, when Laura dies all the way over here, she still has to blink all the way up the map to check her gens. So this death spot will still do something for her. The hook position doesn't matter, obviously, but Laura going down all the way on the bottom side of the map does buy a little bit of time. Now the nurse has to travel up here. We did see this generator pop a little bit ago. The agitation coming in, also letting this hook come in a little bit sooner. And right now, if you are on the nurse side here, if you're Seraphim's killer, you want to just try and find a chase as soon as you can. It's really ideal if you can find the injured Zarina, but you just want to get a very quick chase. All the gens are pretty much at nothing. We're at 1 generator remaining, and if the survivors split up well and have one, maybe the Deliverance survivor solo their generator while the other 2 double them, you do have a very good gen split here. So unless the nurse catches a rotation or just gets a very early chase here, I do think it could spell some problems for our killer. Nobody's out of the woods yet. This could still go either way, but right now, if these survivors pull back and wait for Zarina to get healthy, which is what they are doing, and they attack all these generators with 2 health states, this could be a very calculated and easy to control situation for the survivors here. We do have Adam cleansing this totem fast with a counter force to get that inner strength up. So now we have another survivor who can heal themselves on their own. And it looks like Zarina is stealthing by the carnival here, aiming to take over that carnival generator on her own. And right now, the survivors are playing it very slow. This is what I like to see from the survivor side here. If you can guarantee that you're playing slow and just setting up for these right positioning, and make sure immediately when a chase is called, like right now, you're doubling a gen, you're in a good spot. And that's exactly what our survivors are doing here. They are doubling the generator as soon as Adam is getting chased. If he's able to make this nurse miss a couple blinks and then just die all the way on the shack side of the map, that could be enough time wasted for Zarina and Nancy to pop. Remember, we do not have any pain resonance. The bouncing does not allow for nurse to have pain resonance, and there it is. We do have a missed blink, and that generator in the distance is about 60% right now. This is such a difficult spot to be in. If you drop this chase right now, these survivors can pre-run you, and those 2 survivors doubling will be long gone. So you have to commit to this for the eruption. The eruption does come in minus 10% on that generator, but it's still very high progress, and they are doubling it. I do believe they will pop this in time. Again, if this was Blight and he got that eruption off, he could rush up the map and interrupt this in time. But Nurse, although being an S-tier chase killer, does not have the luxury of getting around the map that fast. And there we have it. The 5th generator has popped. Nancy and Zarina are both here on this side of the map. Ideally, you really want Zarina to get chased here if you're on the survivor side, because she does have Unbreakable and Deliverance. Not really much you can do to kill that survivor. If you hook them, she can unhook herself. If you slug her, she can pick herself up. Very, very awkward spot to be in. I wonder if our killer here is just satisfied taking Adam and maybe try and get 6 stages. We do have, a disconnect coming in. I believe that was Nancy who disconnected. Yeah, I'm not quite sure exactly what happened. There might have been some connection issues or something, but Adam will be getting hooked out. Zarina could get out. If I'm not mistaken, I believe the disconnect for Nancy will award full points for the killer here, so a little unfortunate for Divine Dead on the survivor side here. I think they're only going to be getting the points for these 3 stages out on Zarina. That was a very unfortunate disconnect in the end game here, but I mean, nevertheless, it's really the only thing the killer can do in this situation. These survivors, we did see in the end game, again, they played this macro so calculated. They played slow when they needed to. They got that last reset off, and they made sure that as soon as that last chase started with Adam, that they were instantly ready to double. Had they not been set up for that, I do think the Nurse would have had a chance to interrupt, but very good, clean macro survivor play here from our Divine Dead survivors at the end. And there we have it. The only survivor out the door is Zarina. So that is, you know, all things considered, not a bad result with that disconnect coming in. So if you're Seraphim, you should feel pretty good about that. That could make a big difference next game for the win con. So stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back. We'll set up the lobby for trial number 2 of this Nurse set of Seraphim versus Divine Dead. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, to this Seraphim versus Divine Dead matchup. We do apologize for that long intermission between games. We did have some lobby issues, but we are back this time with Seraphim on the survivor side, Divine Dead on the killer. Let me solo chase here, manning the nurse for Divine Dead, and we are looking around the corrupt area of the map to try and see if we can spot out a survivor rotating off spawn. We do have Nia stealthing behind this rock pretty closely. That is also our Deliverance player who is getting caught, but very good pallet drop blocking that second blink, and Nia is actually going to be our first chase, it looks like here. This is not what you want for Seraphim survivors here if you're playing in their match right now, because this is your Deliverance player. If this down comes in, you will not have Deliverance ready. And again, very quick first down. This was maybe 30-40 seconds or so into the game, and we already have our first down. That down came in before survivor even touched a generator. We do have two survivors splitting different generators now after this down came in, and we are seeing this exact same build from last match. We do have the agitation again that lets our killer for Divine Dead here hook wherever they want, and we can see the strength of the agitation there. Nia died all the way by the killer shack, and she gets hooked at the top side of the map here in the front of main. So very, very good hook positioning there from agitation, and a lot of value already coming in from this build. We do have Claudette on a generator in Carnival, as is Felix on another gen in Carnival. So the top side of the map is active, and this is where the hook is. I would assume Ace is playing for this unhook. And yeah, it looks like he's trying to sneak in there slowly but surely. Doesn't want to get spotted. If he can get it for free, that would be very good for the Seraphim survivors here. But right now, a little bit of a slow game. Our Divine Dead killer isn't really finding any action here, and not seeing the ace rotating for this unhook. And at this point, you've camped this hook stage for so long, you can't really afford to go all the way up to the Carnival and interrupt those generators, because they should know that if they do that, the third survivor will just unhook for free, and you cannot let that happen. So now we pretty much just have to sit here and confirm this hook stage. We do spot out Ace walking by the main building there, so now our nurse player has a good idea of who is playing for this pool, and here comes Ace. Not quite able to body block there, so he can't force second. Ace does get the 1-for-1. Actually, our nurse isn't even taking the 1-for-1 here. We are actually just tapping Nia off of hook and trying to get this instant double blink down and not let her get away, but the 15 seconds of haste and endurance after that whiff will let Nia make her death spot all the way here in the top right corner of the map. And remember, we did not put Eruption on Claudette's gen, so that will be able to pop before the killer gets the hook. So now we have a hook in the area where both of the gens have been completed. For Seraphim survivors, that is very good. This killer can't really afford to camp this hook without giving up some generator pressure. So very, very good heads up play by Nia to just go ahead and die in the edge map here by the Carnival. And now our generator setup is a little bit more skewed towards the shack side of the map. So our nurse will have to make something happen here. That being said, I do think she's still in a pretty good position, because that generator, that was the only one that had a lot of progress. We do have Claudette now on her own about, well, let's see, about 30% here near the shack side of the map, I believe. And that's pretty much all the generator progress we have. If Nia dies soon, I still think this could be 4K territory for our Divine Dead killer here. Let me solo chase. Still in a relatively comfortable position. Now we do have Felix on his own generator, and I was actually incorrect. We did have another generator about 40% that Felix did take over. So if we camp this to death, we might get down to one generator remaining, which would be a similar position as last trial. We did see the tunnel out come in when there was one gen left, and the survivors played it slow in their rotations and doubled a generator for the final chase. So we could be seeing that exact same situation happen again, but I don't think our survivors of Seraphim are willing to just let this go 3v1 right now. I do believe we do have somebody setting up for the unhook. It's Ace yet again. He did sneak in and got that last second 1-for-1. And now Nia running for her life here. She will have to juke a set of blinks. Remember, we did get hit off of hook, so she does not have any endurance anymore that can help her. All she can do is use that haste to die all the way in this edge map, and that's pretty much it. This spells the end for Nia. That is all we have for this survivor. No decisive strike or anything to help her. She will be getting put on her third and final hook. And right now, I do think Seraphim is a little bit ahead on the pace of this match. Divine Dead was last match, because we are on 3v1 now, but we do have all the resets already taken care of, 3 survivors healthy, and one of the generators, I believe it was main building, does have about 20-30% progress. About 20% it looks like. That first piston isn't fully cranking, so we are going to kick that down with Colubrine. We'll regress very fast, and we'll just have to see how our survivors of Seraphim here play this. Remember that disconnect from last match does make a pretty big difference here, because it ended up being the same amount of points that the Seraphim killer would get for getting 9 hook stages. So our survivors here, unless something funny happens with bleed outs or anything like that, they will have to get at least 4 stages out the door to win. So still have to work for it, but that being said, as long as you are patient on your rotations, playing this macro how you should be, I believe they will be able to do it. This is still anybody's game. All you just need is 1 long chase and a double, and that's really all you need to get this last generator done. This set of blinks does miss. Our killer on Divine Dead here does get stuck a little bit, so Ace was actually able to drop that pallet and preemptively use that live to make some good distance down on the bottom side of the map. But very good correction blink there by Let Me Solo Chase. They do land that injury, and Ace is actually going to force locker in the basement, it looks like, but our killer is actually leaving. They know that the Ace is trying to force locker all the way down there to buy time for them to pop most likely that carnival gen at the top side of the map. So our nurse just is opting to leave this chase, but again, like I mentioned last match, if you leave this chase in the 3v1, the 2 survivors that are working that generator will just pre-stealth off. We already see Claudette and Felix walking off, but Felix actually gets caught and hit through his sprint burst, and that is a second injury. Remember, we do have the mangled add-on, and this is problems. I don't know if there was a miscomm here on the Seraphim survivor side, but we do have them running into each other, and this is a double slug situation. This is looking very scary for Seraphim now. If it was just Felix or Ace who died in the corner while the other one was remained unseen, they could still do something, but now we have 2 survivors slugged. If Let Me Solo Chase finds Claudette here on the generator, that would pretty much be game. I do wonder, is our unbreakable survivor on the ground? Yes, Ace was unbreakable. He's actually going to go and instantly unhook this. This is your only chance to pull, and he doesn't make it in time. Oh my gosh, I think he hesitated a little bit there. If he fully sent it, he might have gotten that unhook, but very good heads up play by Let Me Solo Chase to just instantly blink back to that hook, knowing Ace would use that unbreakable and bolt it right for that unhook. And right now Claudette is the last survivor standing, and our killer knows that there's no unbreakable left in play. Once it's used once, it is out of the trial. So Claudette here has this impossible task of needing to get an unhook or a pickup for free without getting spotted, but the killer also probably knows she's topside, because there's no other area she would be. She has to be working this carnival gen. So I don't think our killer is going to give this up that easily. We're going to soft check, and we do see Claudette around the corner here, and this looks like it's game. There's nothing here that can really help our survivors of Seraphim here. I mean, Claudette tried to take her hit as best as she could to make this unhook, but she doesn't have overcome. She doesn't have sprint burst 99 or anything like that. It is simply not enough. And there we have it. Claudette is going down. She will get hooked. I wonder if Ace is going to try and crawl to the corner. Oh, no, he's actually crawling near the hook. So our killer for Divine Dead actually goes ahead and finds Ace here, and we're just waiting for singles to die on hook to get the Mori, or maybe we'll pick up. I'm not exactly sure what the game plan is here. I do think with the agitation you could pick up and easily make a hook, but I'm not sure. I think we're just waiting maybe to be safe for singles to die on hook, so you guarantee there's no funny business happening with flip-flop or any funny perks like that to help Ace wiggle. Once singles dies, we will get the Mori onto Ace, and it would be classified as a finisher Mori, so Let Me Solo Chase will not lose any points for that. They will get awarded the points for every full hook stage, and Claudette has now died on hook, so in just a few moments Ace will be able to get Mori'd. Just waiting a few seconds here, so Let Me Solo Chase just let me browse the scenery here on the Father Campbell's chapel, and oh, you know what, I was mistaken. We do have to wait for Claudette to hit second stage here, about 10 more seconds, and then we can have the Mori. I respect the dedication to the Mori. You probably could pick up with agitation, but we do want the cinematic ending to this game. And Ace is hitting second stage right now, and sorry, not Ace, Claudette or whoever that was. You know, I'm mixing up my survivors. I'm sorry. Long day. Ace is getting moried. That is a 4K1 result for Divine Dead's killer. So Divine Dead will actually go ahead and walk away with the set win, which is a very big deal because Nurse was Seraphim's pick. So Divine Dead won this, and now they'll be going into their own pick, which is a Cenobite on Rotten Fields. So stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back with set number 2 of this matchup. Stay tuned. Hello everybody, welcome back to Seraphim versus Divine Dead. Now we are back with this Cenobite set on the Rotten Fields. A little bit of a different map for the Cenobite, not Dead Dog Saloon or anything like that, but we do have the box coming in and down immediately. So that is a very quick box find. I was about to mention, I feel like the finding the box might be a little bit more difficult on a large map like this, but our killer here finds it pretty much instantly. So chain hunt coming in right away at the beginning of the trial, and right now we do have Divine Dead on killer again. This is their pick with the Cenobite, with Seraphim surviving again, and right now we do have Nia getting spotted out here, taking the chase near the side of the map here with the pallet gem. Maybe messed up what quite happened, but that one is not landing on the survivor, so Nia will be able to buy a little bit of time before she gets tagged here. And
you opened it.
She actually sent it so far away. I came away from that pallet. I didn't even notice she left. I was in the same boat as the killer there. A little bit lost, but we do have the chase going in on to Slaughter here. Our Nancy player did solve the box, and we did see the teleport come in. We are about a minute and a half, almost a minute and a half into the trial, and we don't have a down just yet. We do have generators being worked off in the distance by our other 3 survivors, while Nancy is just taking this chase here. Does have a safe jungle gem to use here, but not safe with the aura reading. Very, very good value coming in here to make sure we are not getting mind gamed at this pallet gem. We did see Slaughter mid vault there, and we do have this first down coming in. I think these survivors were doubling a generator here to break this 3-gen. Yeah, they were doubling a generator at the top side of the map, while Ace is soloing his own gen. Does get hit by pain resonance now. It's only about 40% after that pain res, and we are already seeing another perk being used right now. Batteries included, 5% haste around these completed generators, and not quite sure what the game plan is here for the killer. I wonder if this is a mistake, though. This was a very, very early unhook. Nancy does have 15 seconds of haste and endurance, so bright side for her, she can safely make the top tree. A little bit of a visual bug there with the chain. I'm not quite sure what that was, but Nancy is able to, without a doubt, make this cow tree pallet with that 15 seconds of haste and endurance, and will be going down now, I'm sure. A little zoned here, though. I feel like if there's a filler that spawned here at the top, she will make it. That we do have one of these very safe hate bill fillers, but next to it, not really much else. We just have a 4-lane, so she might need help from somebody else if she wants to survive this, but I don't think anybody's coming. She's just playing this game as long as she can, and then dying on the top side of the map. We do have a survivor splitting 2 generators on the opposite side, and then Claudette here towards the central area of the map, who's probably going to be our survivor playing first unhook. And yeah, it looks like she's actually leaving preemptively. She was actually also bottom, it looked like. Yeah, okay, yeah, a bit of a longer rotation than I thought for Claudette. But this is our For the People survivor, so we could see a For the People come in if she can get this unhook for free. I actually wouldn't dislike this play if she unhooks early again, but gets that For the People. If Nancy is able to hide after that, that could be huge. I think that's exactly what they're doing. Yeah, For the People coming in from Claudette onto Nancy, and if Nancy plays slow and doesn't show herself the rest of the match, there will not be a tunnel out this game. This will probably be a 4v1 most of the trial, and the killer realizes that. So Seraphim doing a very good heads-up play there, protecting that tunnel out. And now we do still have something to work with here. Divine Dead's killer has 3 stacks of stuff now. Another one coming in does damage. I believe it was Claudette's generator, and that's going to be a very early drop from Claudette here. She is injured, does have to play her distance very carefully, and our killer actually went ahead and just broke that pallet gem and is not committing to Claudette, so she will be able to make the top side of the map pretty much for free. We do need to take care of this box, though. It looks like Nia grabbed it, but maybe a little too close to this killer. Yeah, I think it was calm that the killer was nearby. She knows she can't safely solve this without getting interrupted. The chain is on cooldown now, but I think she can one before she solves. Yeah, our killer for Divine Dead here is able to interrupt the box solve, and remember, there is no cow tree pallet, so Nia doesn't really have anything to work with here. I believe that Havel pallet is pre-dropped, but it's not broken yet, so there's a very safe thing nearby, but she cannot make it. That is going to be a down. 4th hook of the game, 3rd pain resonance potentially, and most importantly, we do have the chain hunt going in the background, so there is a lot of pressure going on right now for Divine Dead killer. Could maybe see the momentum shift back in their favor. we'll have to see what happens. We do have 2 injuries on the board. It is pretty difficult to get those resets off during a chain hunt as well, so keep that in mind. Let's see what our survivors are doing. Ace is staying injured on this gen, trying to work it through the chain hunt, but will be definitely very slow progress there. And Claudette actually gets spotted out here on the top side of the map. And with this aura read, you can't play for a cheeky slow. You will get seen. She just has to play her distance and will go down. Very, very good chain usage by our killer here. And Claudette doing the best she can, just trying to die as far away from the middle of the map as she can. But there's going to be another fresh hook stage and the last pain resonance. So we're getting full pain res value here. That is a total of 80% regression throughout the match on these generators with pain res. And our killer now really, I think if they can find anybody in the near future, it would be good for them. If you find Ace or Nia, that is an injured survivor and probably a pretty short chase. Or if you find Nancy, she is death hook. You could maybe commit and get your tunnel out. So I wonder what will happen here. Nancy is about to pop this generator here on the top side of the map. And unfortunately for her, she did have to take a tag to complete that generator. So I'm almost certain our killer here is going to just commit to this and try and secure a 3v1. There is a lot of generator progress in the distance, so if Nancy is able to win some 50s or just hold chase for a little bit longer, could be enough time that they need for this last generator to pop. She does go down, and they are actually, we do see Nia, or sorry, not Nia, Ace and Claudette doubling this generator, while Nia is about 85% on her own. So we could see all generators done here. I don't see a world that you can defend this on the killer side. And looks like that was my fault. We did get the bug there. The killer is not face camping a dead survivor. That is just a spectator bug. So I'll probably just have to show the perspective of our survivors here. I don't really know who is getting chased right now. Okay, looks like it's going to be Nia. And we do have the chains coming in onto her. She does not have the strong pallet, and she is down. Our last perk is revealed to our survivors. It is Noed. Doesn't make that big of a difference because they are all injured, but that 9% haste coming in from Noed and batteries included near these generators definitely can make a big difference. This killer pretty much has Bloodlust 2, almost Bloodlust 2. It's 9% haste, and I don't know if they're both out. We could get a chain here. Okay, no. I think had our killer for Divine Dead gotten here maybe 2 seconds sooner, you could try and send a chain and block one of them in so they can't escape. But unfortunately for them, they won't make it in time. Still, though, pretty good result. It does look like this will be, I believe, 8 hook stages in total. We are getting 4 stages out the door here. So I will say this is a pretty good result for the killer. I would not expect Cenobite to get high stages of more than 7 or 8 on this map, and our Divine Dead killer did manage to get a lot of points here on the killer side. So setting up their survivor side for a pretty good result. If we do see some nice clean macro gameplay and solid chases, it is definitely doable for Divine Dead to take this set as well. But maybe Seraphim has something up their sleeve on the killer side. We'll have to see. We'll be right back setting up the lobby, and we'll be here for the last trial of this matchup. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back. Hello everybody, welcome back to the last trial of Seraphim versus Divine Dead. We are now here with Seraphim on the killer side, Divine Dead surviving. The last match we did see Divine Dead get a pretty good result. We got 8 hook stages, we got all fresh hooks accounted for. So Slaughter here playing killer for Seraphim will need to get a pretty big result, pretty much playing for a 4K. You need 9 stages or more to match the amount of points we got last match. So pretty steep win condition. Anything is possible though. Yet again, we are seeing the box getting found right away, and Quentin is spotted as our first chase here. Does eat the chain, and we are seeing the aura reading yet again on this LT wall. Very good value from the add-on. We saw Quentin is just pathing away from this tile and instead trying to play this filler palette. But that passive chain respawning does get Quentin hit there. Was not able to fast vault or just run around after dropping that. So very, very good hit coming in, and we are just wrapping this vehicle here. Oh no, is he going to make his edge map? Okay, he does have his edge map palette. So Harvester pretty much saving the day there, able to use that like a little mini water tower here, but Quentin will eventually die. His time here is numbered. Unless, does he have an edge map palette here too? No, he doesn't. This is just a wall. So relatively speaking, pretty early first down. We do have, what, 2 survivors split in the distance. Nancy just started one, and it looks like Lara's is about 30%. So all things considered, because they did have to deal with that chain hunt, this is still a pretty decent start for Slaughter here. We are getting the first hook, and that is also the first pay res of the game without really a whole lot of gen progress to show on the survivor side. So we are at a pretty good pace here for our killer. Slaughter will go ahead and kick this, also laying down that eruption on this generator. Maybe looking to see who was working on this generator. It looks like they already pre-left. Lara is also running off of her gen, it looks like, because they are surely copying. He's going down the map, but now working it again because it's safe. Felix is playing for unhook, but I do think changed his mind about it. We do see him just leaving the hook because we don't want to unhook too early. The safest area Survivor can be when their tunnel out is on the hook. If you unhook them too early and give the killer an immediate second chase on them, and if they don't have a very, very long chase, it could spell problems here for your Survivor side. So I do think that was a good heads up play by Felix, not pulling that. But at the same time, that could come back and bite them if they don't somehow send another Survivor and get it for free. And it looks like that unhook already happened. It happened under our nose here. Quentin has already been pulled, and he is playing the killer shack with Felix here. That was a good chain coming in. Wasn't able to get the hit, but that does prevent Quentin from making a lot of distance after vaulting that pallet with the slow vaults and slow walking after. Quentin is going to run over here to our very infamous cow tree. Very safe resource here, and we are landing the chain, but they are breaking with the environment. Good movement by Quentin there to make sure he breaks the chains as soon as possible, and we are living to see another day for now. However, LT wall here is the only resource he really makes. That killer pallet towards the edge map isn't very safe, but Quentin going for maybe an unexpected vault, just vaults right into Slaughter's arms, so that is going to be a second hook stage, and I think Slaughter is planning to go for basement here. Remember, we did break Shack pallet, and we do see the aura of those 2 survivors, I believe from eruption. So we know there's probably nobody here to take a hit to prevent this basement. And we're still at 4 generators remaining. Felix is getting reset. Lara is on her own generator here, and there isn't really a whole lot of generator pressure to show for this chase to happen. I did switch spectating at the wrong time again. I'm sorry, we do have a spec bug. We won't see the killer until they hit somebody or do something. But Felix is trying to sneak in for this unhook here, and we don't even have a tear radius. It looks like Nancy is being chased and does get tagged. Slaughter not going back to hook yet though. Maybe not realizing that generator is regressing. Cannot kick that just yet. But Slaughter smells the blood in the water, does want Quentin here. We are still at 4 generators left. You have all the freedom you want to tunnel this, and Quentin, I do think maybe is making a questionable decision here by running to this area. Unless we have a hit tank coming in, you can't expect to last. You only have an LT wall here. I think they were planning to have Felix come here and take a hit. We do see him in the cornfield here, but they weren't able to coordinate that just in time, and Quentin will be dead at 4 generators remaining. We do have a couple generators that are pretty high progress. Lara and Nancy are doubling, or Lara and Felix, excuse me, are doubling this, and Nancy popping her own in the distance, but still very dominant position for Slaughter here. I would say definitely on pace to meet this win condition. On the Survivor side now, especially with this 3v1 coming in, and a chain hunt on the horizon, you're pretty much, I don't want to call it too soon, but you're pretty much expecting a 4K or a very high stage result here and just playing for damage control. You want to try to get as many generators done as possible before the game is done, or hope you do something to put the momentum back in your favor, because we are at 3 generators left. We have 2 injuries, and we have a tunnel out already secured. Batteries included also coming in with the 5% haste here at this tile. Felix got stuck a little bit there. I think Slaughter set that chain out expecting Felix to just vacuum into that vault, but Felix got stuck on the barrel there. So either way, does get the hit, and we do see the 3rd generator pop in the distance, and we do need to drop this jungle gem down nice and early. But the chains going back to hit Felix again will not let him survive longer for more gens to get done. That is going to be the chain hunt refreshed. The box was on him when he went down, so we have a chain hunt still going on. Only 2 survivors up on the ground. If Slaughter plays his cards right here, this could be a very big 4K2 result. Does miss the chain there by a little bit. I think Nancy just tried to go for an unexpected vault there, praying for the best. You kind of have to take risks at this point on the survivor side because you need to make something happen. But Laura is the last one up. She is trying to get this pickup onto Felix. Remember, the chain hunt doesn't work if there's only 1 survivor standing, so now it's just Laura yet again. The chain hunt isn't going to passively slow her down during this chase, but remember, this is Cenobite balancing. There isn't any crazy perks like Unbreakable that will allow these survivors to pick themselves up, so that's it. That's game. All these survivors are fresh, so Slaughter will have to go around the map trying to find these slugs, but either way, should be in a position to get enough points for this because we still have 2 generators standing, and we already are about to find another survivor right here on the ground. Yep, here we have Felix. Then I believe Nancy is the last one on the ground, right? Yes, Nancy looks like she was just recovering, not really interested in trying to crawl for a bleed out. And now Slaughter just has to go to the top side of the map, try and find her. But very, very good gameplay from Slaughter here. I will say I think these survivors did make some mistakes with their strategy here by getting that unhook very early at the start, and then on that second chase, dying near the basement spelled trouble for our survivors here. That was a very campable situation for Slaughter, and he did end up punishing that. So in the end, it actually looks like these teams won the set that they didn't choose. We saw Divine Dead win the Nurse, which is what Seraphim picked, and now Seraphim winning Cenobite, which is what Divine Dead picked. So if I'm not mistaken, this will just be a tie for this matchup, and that's all we have for Seraphim versus Divine Dead. But stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back. We will just be setting up the lobby for our next matchup, which is Unholy versus Wigobuff. So stay tuned. We will be right back. Hello everybody, welcome back to ND's Campfire. Apologize about the filter change there. I didn't realize we would be back on a cold one map, but we're back. Very short intermission screen this time. We're right back into the next game. Right now we do have Unholy versus We Go Buff. Right now this is set 1, Dark Lord, Rancid Abattoir. This is Unholy's pick, so we are seeing them kill first here, and we are having a very early first chase coming in onto Walk here, our Leon player, and does have a 4-lane pallet here. Not the safest tile, but does read out that Hellfire hold by Wicca and does end up avoiding the attack for now, but will be eating an M1 here and does take pretty much as good of a hit as they can to try and make this edge map pallet gem, but very well played by Walk here. Does juke those set of wolf pounces, and Wicca here pretty much has a guaranteed down if they're patient, but maybe a little too confident in the Hellfire, not really holding it to make sure you get the hit, and Walk was actually able to last a little bit longer and has a very good death spot here, far away from all the active generators. We do have the right side of the map active. Ace and Sable are now doubling this generator next to main, and then we also have this is Felix near the shack, so pretty much as good of a death spot as you could ask for. We do see the hook coming in far away from all the active generators, and now we are in bat form traversing the map. Wicca just needs to find some action, maybe get a quick tag, and then go back to hook. You do ideally want to try and get a tunnel out here. Rancid has gone through some changes with the Factory Works behavior has done over the years. Not quite as safe as it once was with the nerfed main building, but survivors still have a decent amount of resources here. They can do something. We do see the Hellfire tag coming in on to Ace, and now he is going to come back to hook and maybe try and get a tunnel out here. We're looking for our Leon, and Leon Scott Kennedy spotted. He is running here at this LT wall. Walk still does have some resources on this side of the map, a couple fillers here as well, but a little bit of a misplay from Walk, but it actually looks like Wicca misses that set of pounces again, so he is going to live a little bit longer, but nah, he is not able to make this 4-lane. I do wonder if Walk could have maybe just tried to play those pallets, those filler pallets on the edge map side there, and just hold distance and try to die in a corner. But regardless, probably didn't waste as much time as they wanted to for We Go Buff here. That is a second hook stage coming in. We do have 2 generators popped in the distance, and this is a strength of the Dracula. We do have such strong mobility here with this bat form, very fast movement speed. You can teleport around the map and really lay the pressure down on these generators very effectively. Fast track here on our Sable does get a very unfortunate Hellfire hit there. Isn't really able to make a lot of safety here. Very good movement by Wicca here, zoning them away from the pallet gem, and this is a pivotal point in the game here. We do have a slug on the ground and a tunnel out being pursued right now. If Wicca is able to get this tunnel out secured right now, this is a almost guaranteed 4K situation. We do have 2 survivors left, one of which has to rotate for that pickup, which it looks like Ace went ahead and got that pickup, but that means only one person is doing generators. Felix is about 50% on his own generator, and now Wicca knows that we are going to lay down a kick, putting a rush down on this generator, and right now, anybody's fair game. All 3 survivors have not been hooked yet, so they will be available to hook on a Scourge hook for pain res, and you pretty much just need to take whatever chase you can find. But very good balanced landing here from our Felix player. Does avoid that injury for a little bit longer, and does not have this filler pallet here, but you do need to try and juke this Hellfire to use this pallet. And good juke by Nathan Harris, but unfortunately for him, he does get body blocked away from this filler. So again, good movement from Wicca here, using the Lapis Lazuli to block the shack window, but such a good preemptive double back from Felix here. This is the kind of chase you need to bring the momentum back in the favor of the survivors. If Nathan is able to win a couple more 50s here and do something, the survivors might be able to get a few more generators done. Felix doing an absolutely amazing job in this chase, and could potentially make a shack pallet here, but Wicca, again, using that pounce to position himself in a way where they cannot make the shack pallet. So we're actually just going to see Felix try and die as far edge map as they can, and I don't think these survivors are splitting generators. I think they were trying to just double and pop a generator for this death, if I'm not mistaken. Sable is on the left side of the map, playing to solo this generator while Ace is positioning for this unhook. I think there's a small chance Ace got spotted there. I think our killer here had a line of sight on Ace for a second, and I think that's why we're looking here. Yeah, maybe Ace did get seen there, and I wonder where he's at. He's just walking around this hay bale. Dracula is a third-person killer in wolf form, so a little bit more tricky to stealth. If he walks right by you, it's very easy to get spotted, but we're actually back in bat form on the hook. I'm not quite sure what Wicca's game plan here is. They know that generator by the harvester is still aggressing, and we're at the point now where we're almost 30 seconds into this hook stage, so if you leave now, the survivor will surely just get this unhook for free. And we do find Sable here, and yep, Ace seizing the opportunity, getting a very well-timed unhook there to make sure he can get it safely without getting a trade, but very, very good Hellfire over the cow tree by Wicca here, and however, no cow tree pallet, that will be a down, and an eruption on that generator by the harvester. This will be another pain resonance, which will most likely hit Sable's gen here by the cow tree. And I wonder, are these survivors playing for a reset, or are they just staying injured? Okay, Nathan here is staying injured. Oh, I did forget to mention earlier in the match, we did have a penalty awarded to Team Weaglebuff, and we are seeing one reduced perk on a survivor here. It will be on Felix, but very, very well played by Wicca here, going ahead and preemptively guessing that this survivor is going to go wide, and does call out that play. We are getting this down, and now these two hooks are so close to each other, you don't really have a reason to leave. That was such a good prediction pounce by Wicca. Getting that down lets both of these hooks be so close to each other, and Ace needs to perfectly time this to go in and get an unhook for free. I do think Wicca's coming back. Maybe you could get this for only taking an injury, but I don't think there's much else to do. We are seeing the Hellfire come in and get this double hit off of the hook, and you have to chase the survivor going for the unhook. If we're going for Nathan here, we could get the... Yeah, okay. It's debatable. I do think Wicca could have gone for a more risky play and chased Ace, denying the unhook and trying to do a big slug play. But I kind of like this play as well. We are just going for the very safe... Let me just go for the Death Hook Survivor and get this to be a 2v1. Even if you don't end the game right now off of a slug play, you have two survivors left now and they're both injured. So, you know, I actually don't mind this play from Wicca at all. That is going to put them in a position where they can still be in a 4K2 territory, and that was such a good prediction. Hellfire getting Sable through the window. Sorry if I'm stumbling over my words a little bit here. This is such a fast-paced game. I did not expect all this action going on. And Ace, yet again, the last survivor standing, he is going to have to make something happen and try to get Hatch or something, but Wicca with the game sense knows that they would be stealthing off of their generator around the edge ramp side near the main building, and does get found. Very, very strong result for Unholy on the killer side. Wicca here is going to lock in this 4K2 results, which will award Unholy a lot of points when they switch over to the survivor side. They won't even have to play to get out. So if they just pop 4 generators or pop all the generators, they would have enough points to win this set. So very well played to Unholy. Weaglebuff did have to work with what they got. Each survivor only had 3 perks, and that will be a 4K2. So stay tuned. We'll be right back setting up lobby. Next up, we'll have Weaglebuff on the Dark Lord and Unholy on Survivor. We'll be right back. Stay tuned, everyone. Hello everybody, welcome back to the second trial of this Dark Lord set. This time we have Wigglebuff on the Killer with Unholy on the Survivor side. That penalty from last match only applied to one side, so we do have all the perks available on Killers for Wigglebuff now. It is only on Survivor. They opted to use that penalty on. So Fast Track does have all 4 perk slots available, and we are seeing a very early first chase come in onto Ace here, and looks like they're in the corrupted gens. So I mean, if Ace were to die here, not the worst death spot, but you do need to waste a little bit more time. If this is a 2-tap, you could be looking at a very big killer result here. So you do have to win some 50s, do something here. But Ace does go down. That was maybe, what, 30 seconds into the game? Not sure exactly how long, but these survivors have barely touched any generators. Ada, about 15-20% on theirs. Steve, about 20%. That pain res knocking it down almost to 0. And right now, there's pretty much no generator progress on the board, and Fast Track has the freedom to look over here, maybe suspicious of somebody setting up for pool, but no such thing happening right now. It looks like Adam went ahead and is leaving this generator to go for unhook, but we didn't have anybody setting up early, so a little bit of wasted time from Fast Track there. But we still have Ruin available, so that will be regressing Adam's generator while he's going for his unhook. And every time these survivors get pushed off their generators, like so, they will get some Ruin value. And first pounds coming in onto movement here are Steve, the Hare Harrington, will get injured, and Fast Track going back to hook, surely knowing that Adam or Ada will be setting up for this pull, and they do make it in time. Very good heads up play again by Adam. I love to see this for the people on the first hook, because if you do use for the people on that first hook after getting the unhook for free, you can protect that tunnel out for so much longer. But Sponge getting caught out on the pallet vault there does go down, and our tunnel out target is spotted. Ace was not quite able to hide, but they are using the bounce landing to try and get away. And this is the strength of for the people. They're healthy. They have distance with bounce landing. So Fast Track is actually saying, you know what, I don't think I have time to commit to this long chase. I will just pick up Sponge here and get my pain resonance, which honestly, not the worst decision. Still will give you some regression, but you do need to try and get somebody out of the game eventually, because your win condition here is not easy. I believe because of the penalty, even a 4K2 will not be a tie. It would still award this first set to Unholy due to that penalty for the builds. So Fast Track pretty much is playing here, playing all for nothing here. You have to get a win to 4K3, or you're just accepting defeat on the set. So very, very difficult to manage. Still definitely possible, but you need to get something going very, very quickly. Champion of Light coming in by movement here on the Shack palette, hindering Fast Track, buying some more distance around the Shack, and Fast Track had such a good start to this game. I'm very surprised we aren't seeing them go back to hook to tunnel, maybe, or go through people for Ace at the start. We are just chasing unique survivors every time here, maybe trying to get some pain resonance value. But the issue here, and what could backfire for Fast Track, is whenever you're playing in a way that lets all 4 survivors stay alive, you'll always have 3 survivors in the distance doing generators for this chase, and that is not what you want if you are trying to get a 4K at 3 generators. You really need to try and get somebody out of the game, or apply pressure by getting some kind of big snowball slug play, something. But Fast Track right here, I do think struggling a little bit to get something going. That's such an unfortunate teleport. They wanted to use that Lapis Lazuli add-on to block the Killer Shack window, but accidentally teleporting to the edge map. Very, very unlucky for Fast Track there. But you just need to find somebody who's been here before and just hope for a 2-tap, I feel like. Very, very awkward spot to be in right now. The pace of the game has slowed down a little bit. We haven't seen an injury or down come in a while, and we are seeing another survivor who is fresh. We are chasing Ada here, who has not been hooked a single time, and if you get this hook, pretty much the only pressure you get out of that is a pain resonance. You aren't really getting any closer to eliminating a survivor from the game. And Fast Track has, at the start, was doing very good with these chases, landing these power hits, getting quick downs, but right now, the momentum of the game, I feel like, is going back into Unholy's side here. We are not really seeing a lot of downs come in, and no tunnel out target really happening in the in the background while these chases are while these gens are going on, and Ada will be going down. I wonder if this will be a slug. Yeah, Fast Track is slugging this, and I think they realize if they pick up Ada, again, they're not really any closer to making this match a 3v1. They need to slug this person and maybe try and find somebody they can battle out. Like Ace here. If we did see Ace use bounce landing off those stairs to get some more distance, but still eating the injury, and not really anything left to use here other than this edge map palette, and Ace will probably be going down here. Yeah, they are not able to win the 50 here on this palette, and if you're Fast Track, I think you should either pick up here or just go around the map and try and get a 4th slug. The 3rd generator has popped, so if I'm not mistaken, I believe this pretty much guarantees the win to Unholy. But yeah, there's generator number 4. This is the consequence of not really getting the tunnel out in a timely manner. All 4 survivors have been alive this entire trial, and this is why we are seeing this heavy generator pressure come in. Every time somebody is being chased, every time Fast Track is chasing somebody, 3 other people are in the distance doing these generators, and we're already down to the wire with 1 generator left. Not really a whole lot going for a killer. We do have 3 fresh hooks, and still have Ace on the ground, I believe. We never picked up Ace. Now, where are they? They're crawling here near the killer shack, and looks like Fast Track is just trying to find pressure elsewhere. We do see these fading scratch marks. We know somebody is near the main building. Not quite sure where, though. They do pay attention to the HUD, though. They saw Ace get picked up, so Fast Track is coming back to try and find Ace or Adam here, and Sponge looping this filler pallet, not quite able to make it in time, will be eating an injury, and right now we do have 1 survivor on hook, 2 survivors injured. A little bit of a risk of things snowballing here if Fast Track catches somebody out of position, but again, with there being 4 survivors alive, they should still be in control of the pace of this game. We have Ace and Adam doubling this generator while Ada is playing for Unhook, and this is the right macro play you want to make. You want a healthy survivor playing for the pool, but does get spotted out, so Ada will not be able to sneak in for this unhook. She does get injured, and Wicca here trying to die as far away as possible from the hook as they can, and we are seeing this pounce come in. Does break the pallet. Wicca went ahead and vaulted that early and did win the prediction, so they will live to see another day. And Fast Track going ahead and leaving. Now we know where all the survivors are. We have these 2 survivors doubling the generator, and Ada, who is zoned on the edge, who was playing for pool, but very, very good vault by Sponge. Fast Track was not expecting that, and they do win the window. Right now, it's so difficult because it looks like the killer could snowball and get some slugs going and get a 4K1, but unfortunately, I don't think it'll be enough for a Weegoboff. We already are down to 1 generator remaining, and they do have a penalty and did get 4K2'd last match. So Fast Track, I think, is just playing for best result here, trying to keep the confidence up a little bit. You don't want to walk away from this with like 4 stages or 5 stages. If you can still get a respectable result, maybe a 4K1 or 4K0, even just high stages, I think that would help keep the morale up for Weegoboff. If Fast Track can still at least get something respectable. But right now, I'm not really sure what the generator progress is looking like. I think Ruin chipped away all the progress they had on this generator, and we are at 1 gen left. Now looking like the momentum might be back in Fast Track's favor. We do have Sponge on hook, about 70 seconds away from being eliminated, and soon to be the same for Ace here, going to be hooked right next to our Adam player, Sponge, and I mean, Fast Track could just stay in this area. It looks like Steve went in and already just preemptively sent it for the unhook, taking the one opportunity they can. With Dracula being a very strong camping killer with the Hellfire, you do deserve to take whatever opportunity you can for the unhook. If you wait too long and give him a chance to camp, you could really face some bad consequences here with the double Hellfire hits off of hook. I've seen a lot of games ended very fast with that. So well played by movement, just getting that unhook when it's nice and free. But right now, 6 hook stages on the board for Fast Track. No elimination just yet, and we are seeing Ada getting chased here. I don't know if she meant to jump in that locker, maybe had to change of heart and tried to jump out and play that pallet, but not quite enough time. She will get caught out and take that down, and I believe this is going to be pain resonance. Yes, so Fast Track does hook on a Scourge hook there. That is minus 20% to that generator they were trying to crank out, which I believe is this one next to the hill here. Do see some scratch marks. Good comms by the survivors, going ahead and preemptively saying where the killer will be and leaving the generator without giving a free down. And Right now, I mean, this is just so, again, I feel like a broken record here, but this is so difficult to just keep up with what 4 survivors can do if you don't get a tunnel out going at the start of the game, because even with such a strong killer with Dracula, you do have some pretty good anti-loop abilities and a very, very good bat form that helps you get around the map fast. It's still hard to keep these generators under control. Fast Track does still have Ruin up, which is doing wonders for them. That is regressing the generators every time the survivors get pushed off, but 4 survivors alive, very, very tall task to defend the last gen when you're in this situation, and we're doing such a good job using the environment there to dodge that set of pounces, and Fast Track doesn't even get that down, and the last generator has been completed. Movement with the adrenaline is going to be healthy now, and right now I imagine we're just going to see whoever gets chased force the locker while the other survivors get out. Even if the survivor that gets hooked is not a death hook survivor, it's very unlikely in these Dracula sets you see the team come back and try and unhook, because again, Hellfire is such a good camping tool. It's really difficult to pull in a Dracula's face unless they make some kind of big mistake. But bat form going around the map quickly does spot out scratch marks near this exit gate. Fast Track knows somebody was working this door, and it was actually Adam, and he does have this floor pallet to use here, but Fast Track misses the Hellfire, and not quite landing that M1. I thought Sponge would go down there, but they seem to be a low-ping warrior, and going for that cheeky fast vault from the inside yet again. Not quite able to make it. Steve lurking for a flashback save here, but not quite able to stay hidden. I do think Steve got a little stuck there, ran into the wall for a second, and is not able to beeline it for the gate. I do think there's a chance he could have made it out there, but not taking that distance as good as he may have wanted, and does get stuck. Now he will be eliminated. That is still, like I said, a pretty respectable result. I believe that is only 3 stages out the door. So Fast Track, although they didn't meet the win condition, they did put up a fight and get 9 stages in the end. Unfortunately, though, that will be a win in set 1 for Unholy. So not quite enough for Wigglebuff on the killer side to keep up, but we will be going on to the next set, which is Wigglebuff's pick, the Lich on Ormond Lakemine. So we might see Wigglebuff have something up their sleeve there. That is going to be their pick. Might see some more confident plays there, and we'll be right back setting up lobby for more Wigglebuff versus Unholy. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back, everybody. We're back with more Unholy versus Wigglebuff. This time, we do have the Lich on Ormond Lake Mine. This is Wigglebuff's pick. We have Fast Track back on the killer, same as last trial here. Did send out an orb nice and early. Did spot out movement there towards the shack side of the map, but not very interested in committing to that. Does find another survivor here. Looks like this will be Wicca, our Ada player here, taking chase by the edge map in this tower. This is a non-balance. I'm not sure if everybody out there in the audience knows this, but with Mage Hand, after Vecna got changed a little while back, if the survivor drops a pallet very early and the Vecna uses Mage Hand on it, the survivor can just stay in the pallet and drop it back on them. So I think that is why Fast Track just instantly broke that. If they use Mage Hand and Ada knows about that counterplay, that would only just result in a stun. So breaking that pallet nice and early. Well played by Ada for taking that drop whenever she can and just holding that distance. So right now, I do think we do have two survivors doubling a generator. Yeah, we do have Adam and Laura doubling a gen. And we might see the first generator pop before the first down even comes in. And it's a very good skull usage. The Lich on this map is very infamous for having a lot of good skull locations with all the elevation differences. And there we have it. The first generator has been completed. It looks like that gen was... Where was that generator exactly? Okay, it was in the middle of the map, so they were choosing to double a very central gen, which, if you are going against a killer that might have a lot of lethality, especially like on a map like this, Vecna isn't an S tier or anything, but does have some pretty good skull locations, and you do want to make sure that if somebody takes a bad hit or gets hit by skulls, you want to make sure you pop something for the first chase. And if you're popping that mid-map gen, it does limit the 3-gen potential for the late game. So a lot more beneficial than doubling something like Shack or main building. So Fast Track does use a pretty central gen. And again, we are seeing the For the People on first hook. Unholy does not want to let anybody get tunneled out anytime soon. But Fast Track said, you know what? I am going to commit to Ace anyway. I'm going to chew through this extra hook state. But we do have Laura playing with Ace and gets nice head on that will let Ace hold their distance very well. And yeah, it looks like they were running towards a killer shack, and Fast Track, after eating that head on, is not interested in committing to this tunnel out. We are going to instead leave this chase entirely and try and find another survivor, maybe off of working a generator. But Sponge in the distance, about to pop their own generator here, and on her own about 30%. And this is a For the People survivor. Wicca is injured and doesn't really have a lot of safe resources here. The only thing we have is this pallet. She did try to use the Lithe there off the pallet to hold W away, but very good skeleton use by Fast Track there. Does hit her mid-vault, and this will be the second hook and second pain res of the game now. That is minus 20% to the most progressed generator. And good orb does immediately spot Sponge there after they pop that generator. We know because they moved in closer to the main building, Sponge is most likely the survivor playing to get this unhook, and Fast Track is immediately pursuing them. And this means that another survivor will have to rotate from far away to unhook Wicca. And that was a good skull usage by Fast Track. I do wonder if after crouching those skulls, Adam may have been able to make the pallet in this jungle gym here. Not entirely sure, but that will be a tag coming in onto Sponge. So we do have an injury, sorry, 2 injuries in the distance, and Fast Track, again, not really tunneling. I did think maybe they got the memo from last match when they were first going for Ace after that unhook, but then the head-on came in and we switched targets, and then we switched targets again. But now I do think you need to just chase Ada. This is an injured survivor who has been hooked once, and yes, Fast Track does realize this is what they need to do. They cannot afford to chase a fresh hook survivor. Good skulls, doesn't get the double hit, but will go ahead and injure movement there, so we cannot have Laura stay there for a hit tank. We are instantly getting injured by skulls, and that is Force Hezzy coming into play. Fast Track, knowing you can slug this, get this down onto Laura, she has to just try and die as far away from the slug as possible. But I will say Laura took some very good pathing there. Despite being affected by Forced Hezzy, she didn't even go down, even though she just had 1 1 but does drop that pallet a little too late. She's not able to crouch in time to dodge the skulls. And Fast Track flying right back to the slug. They do pick up Wicca in time, and we are just going back to pick up movement here. It is a little bit risky if you leave movement on the ground here and go for Ada, so I do understand Fast Track's decision here, but again, this is a third hook stage and it results in nobody being in danger of an elimination, you do need to get something going. We have seen 3 generators pop already. We did get this reset off in the distance, and Ace, ooh, I do think a little unlucky there, tried to let go for pain resonance and got a skill check on top of the pain res. So now this generator went from almost like 70% to about 30-40%. So a lot of regression there, and still, despite that happening, survivors, again, 4 people up and able to do generators. Skulls from a distance will hit Sponge there, and they will be going down. I think Lara here trying to take the hit. Fast Track knows you can go through survivors if you cast a spell, but we have the double pallets here. This is such a dense area of the map with a lot of pallets, not really able to utilize that tech to go through them. And that is that another Force Hezi? Yes, Force Hezi was off cooldown, so Lara slowed down yet again, will be trying to get the slug play coming in, and I do think she's dead now. That was a very good mage hit. Fast Track was able to cut Lara off, and this is who you want to hook. When you have Lara on hook, only going to be 70 seconds until she's eliminated or force the survivor to pull her. Ace will be popping this generator on the shack side of the map, and our last 3 generators are looking to be more topside oriented, I believe. We have this one inside the main building that Fast Track is kicking down, and then we have another one on the side here in that tower, and then that one all the way in this jungle gym. The game plan for the survivors should be to work the generator in the main building, and then probably that one in the jungle gym. This one in the tower here that we see is in a corner of the map, pretty easy to get stuck in, and the god pilot's gone. So I imagine we're going to see our survivors ignore that generator for the most part. Sponge does get hooked there, and I believe that was the last pain resonance token used. Yeah, Fast Track has exhausted all their pain resonance tokens, and now just looking, I imagine trying to see if they can find any information about Lara's whereabouts. We do see a hill here, trying to get some elevation, scope out these survivors, but Fast Track not finding anything. They went ahead and reset down by the killer shack. Fast Track needed to go further down the map to try and find a sign of these survivors. You should know they will not reset this close to the generators and this close to where the hook survivor is. And they played it safe, went near the shack side of the map, and Fast Track, instead of looking for that, they're actually happy just staying by this hook, staying by this 3-gen, waiting for the survivors to make their first move. But we are seeing Lara on this generator in the jungle gym. Again, I imagine this generator and main building will be the points of interest for our survivors, and she's already getting a good amount of progress on that. And right now, we have Sponge getting chased. Again, not a death hook survivor, still does have that haste and endurance from being unhooked. That makes such a big difference here. They were able to make this turn, but unfortunately does get a little stuck there and didn't have enough distance to wrap around one more time. So Sponge will be going down. That is an eruption proc on that doubled generator, and Sponge is actually looking to hook in the main building here. I'm not sure if they're aware of how much progress is on that generator in the jungle gym, because it's definitely very high now. It's about to pop. I'm not sure if Fast Track is aware of this, but right now your priority, if you're Fast Track, needs to be getting the most amount of points for whoever you decide to commit to. In other words, you don't want Adam, you don't want Lara, you want either Ace or Ada, because they have only been hooked once. And as we speak, we do see Ada getting caught out here. Good mage hand usage. We are seeing the skulls come in. I think Ada instantly crouching to dodge that. Very well played, and knows that all the spells are on cooldown, so she goes ahead and drops this jungle gym pallet, knowing she's absolutely safe, and not even playing the double pallets here. She is just running towards the main building, making sure she can take a good hit to try and make the other exit gate. Good pre-drop onto this pallet here, and I imagine that Wicca's teammates are just telling them to just run towards the gate. We will escort you out. We will give you hits, and trying to escape here through the one opened gate.
Bloody hell!
And still, Fast Track doing a good job at flying towards the gate and zoning these survivors away from the gates. But the issue is, if you give them too much time here, they can heal up and also get hit tanks near the door. We do see Sponge get reset in the distance, and Wicca is being healed in main building by movement. I don't even think Fast Track can interrupt this reset anymore. They waited too long. They do unfortunately mess up the fly spell there, and now everybody's healthy, unless you take a very unfortunate skull hit or something like that. I want to say it's almost guaranteed that these survivors get out. And as I say that, the skull's missed, and now we are just trying to make the most out of this fly spell. And and they're trying to form a wall around Laura, but they do mess up a little bit. We are seeing Force Hezi come in. Those body blocks are not successful, and Sponge still affected by Force Hezi. I was going to say maybe doesn't make the exit gate, but they did beeline it towards the gate as soon as the injury came in. They will be out. So that will be, if I'm not mistaken, 5 stages out the door. Still, I want to say for fast track here, they did get more than 6 stages. This is definitely, I want to say, close to an average result, maybe slightly above average here. We did get more than the 6 hook stages. That is normally the middle ground for these mid-tier sets. But I wonder if not going for a tunnel out came back to bite them a little bit. Not quite sure, but we will be back in just a moment for trial number 2 of this Lich set. We will have Weagle Buff on the Survivor side with Unholy Unkiller. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. Hello everybody, welcome back to the last trial we have here between Unholy and Wigglebuff. Right now, we do have Wigglebuff on the Survivor side, Unholy on Killer. We do have Wicca manning the Lich, like we saw the last set for the Dark Lord, and now we are instantly finding a very early chase, going down the hill, trying to get a skeleton hit, but Walk here on Ada does manage to juke and run in between those skulls. Remember, if the Lich does this on any elevation, you cannot crouch to avoid it. You do have to just try and land in between the skeletons to not take that hit. So well played by Ada there, and we actually are going ahead and target switching here. We are finding Felix at the main building and thinking the mage hand, but Felix calls the bluff and just instantly drops that pallet and makes some distance here. And we do have both of our anti-loop powers on cooldown here. Wicca doesn't have skeletons or mage hand back just yet, but skeletons are available to use yet again. And that's one of those things against the Lich that you have to understand. Once you see them use mage hand or skulls, especially if they use it and you manage to avoid the hit, you know they're pretty much a basic standard M1 killer for a little while. They will not have any anti-loop power to hit you for a little bit. That being said, I do think Felix here, I thought he was going to get injured, but still faking that window will be going a little bit longer without a tag, but very good skeleton setup by Wicca there. They do get the instant skeleton hit onto Felix, and I do believe his time here is numbered. He will go down on this pallet, and that is an eruption on the mid-map generator. I wonder, are they doubling this mid-map gen? They are doubling the mid-map gen, and we did have Sable fast track soloing main building, but I don't believe this is enough time to pop again. That is a pain resonance. This will interrupt the mid-map gen. And with this being such a central generator, these survivors are pretty much forced to just leave it. Yeah, I mean, if they keep trying to pressure it, it will be easily interrupted, and it will be pretty difficult to get it done. But we are seeing the kick come in yet again, and that is a pop goes the weasel, so that generator lost even more progress. We have the good old pop eruption combo that Wicca is using. Very, very good after the hook to lay down a pop goes the weasel on a gen, and then eruption for later on. Again, going down the elevation a little bit, Walk dodging the skeletons one more time. Well played, not eating the power hit there, forcing the M1 and getting a lot of distance to the Killer Shack. And you just need to make sure you do not die next to the hook. If Ada dies next to the hook here, Wicca is in a very strong spot and can camp this out till second and force somebody to trade. There would not be a lot of generators being done had that happened. So Walk, very, very good decision there to just leave the hook entirely, taking that M1, going to the Killer Shack. And Wicca needs to confirm second here, and they know that. We do have Sable and Ada doubling this other generator, and then Ace, very high progress there, is not letting go of this mid-map gen. Ace is just trying to solo it there for a little bit, and it looks like we're just accepting the fact that Felix is getting second stage there, and we're just letting him sit for longer. And good skeleton usage, again, using the elevation difference on the stairs to get that skeleton hit. Wicca does get the very, very fast down onto Ace, and I don't know about this decision to pick up. I do think we could have seen Wicca opt to slug there and try and snowball here or cut off the unhook from Felix, but we are instead deciding to just get the pickup and get the hook. And they expect somebody to be at that hook nearby to save Felix, but both of our survivors were actually doubling that generator next to main. I don't think Wicca was wary to that, and nobody is here, so they are all on the top side of the map. But at this point, even if your prediction was wrong here, if you're Wicca, you still can't really afford to leave this hook because you need to make sure Felix dies. And Sable is coming in for his unhook. Even if we don't get the death on the Felix, making this a 1-for-1 is a lot better for you if you're Wicca than letting them get it for free. So good decision there, deciding to just stay towards the hook and make sure they don't get anything for free. We are just taking the instant paintballs and using Fly instantly to catch up to Felix, and that is a for the people coming in. If Wicca instantly decided to pursue Felix here instead of going for that pain resonance, I don't think they would have had the opening to use that for the people. So well played to Wigglebuff, seizing that opportunity, punishing that mistake from Wicca. But that being said, they do take the tag on that pallet, and Felix is stuck here for a little bit. Nathan just has to loop this a little bit longer and hope for the best, but yeah, you really can't do that much here. You have to win some 50s, especially if you're on ping. This is a very hard pallet to play around. Even if you win a 50 and make the killer whiff, if they give you, unless they swing on the wrong side, you're still stuck there. You cannot move, you can't go anywhere. So Wicca making sure they're just stuck at this pallet. They do get the elimination, and we are at 3 generators left with the tunnel out. And this is what I was talking about so much last trial. Fast Track was at a decent pace at the start of the game. They did get a down not too late into the trial, but after that first hook, we didn't see any tunnel out attempt. But Wicca instead confirming that Felix dies here. We do have a tunnel out and a disgusting instant skeleton here on to Sable. Very beautiful use of the basement stairs here, making it so it is pretty much just a prediction for Sable. You can't really react to that if it's on the same elevation and spawns right on top of you. You just have to loop shack and hope for the best. So very well played to Wicca, using that position on the stairs to get that skeleton hit. And now we do have Fast Track only about a minute away from dying on this hook. And I think Wicca knows if you get this down here, you can slug this and go back. Ada, you know Ada has to be playing for this unhook. And Wicca actually opting to get this pick up instead, which honestly, I would say if we are in 4v1, this could be a bad decision, but you don't really lose a whole lot by picking up here. We do have only 2 other survivors up, able to do the objective on the map, and one of them is your injured death hook survivor. So you probably won't lose a gen for picking up here, but Wicca looks like they're actually just opting to go for the safe play, getting these points for these hooks when they can. But Fast Track eating another skeleton hit by the shack. Wicca on point with the power usage here. Beautiful skeletons all around. We are seeing a lot of these skeleton hits come in, and this shows the power of the Lich on Ormond Lakevine. We're seeing so many of these situations where the survivors are not able to crouch these skeletons, and with good positioning from the killer, it's so hard to react to it. At this point, I think Team Wigglebuff is just accepting the defeat here. The win condition for them on the survivor side would have to be a lot better than this. It looks like Wicca is setting up to get a 4K with a couple of generators remaining, and Wigglebuff would have to get some outs to take this setback. So yeah, there's pretty much no way these Wigglebuff survivors can bring this back. This win condition, I think, is already too far out of reach, and we are chasing the Death Hook survivor. I think the most you can really hope for at this point is for Ace to have a really nice chase here, and Ada to pop 1 generator in exchange for it. But I mean, we'll just have to see what they can do here. Lip does hold W through the pallet. Not a bad decision there, expecting the mage hand, but not enough distance to make the pallet. With that medium vault, they will be going down. And Ada actually playing for the flashlight save here. You know, I respect this. You might as well have a little bit of fun if the outcome of the match has already been decided. We got some sleazy moonwalks from Walk here. You know, I'm just playing for style points at this stage of the game. Walk doesn't really care. I don't know if that disconnect was a connection issue or if a survivor preemptively DC'd. I'm not entirely sure, but it doesn't matter all that much. Walk is just here for the love of the game. They just want to have a good chase. And are we going to shack for a 1v1? Are we making it official? Yes. It looks like we are. Wicca wants to give Walk their time to shine. We might be seeing a shot 1v1 here, but oh, never mind. I ate my words. Like I said, you took too long. This was a limited time offer. I will be putting you on the ground and doing the finisher Mori. So, all that being said, Unholy does take this matchup 2-0. We did see them win the Dark Lord set, and now they are sweeping this Lich set, taking the clean 2-0. And that will be it. Well played to both teams today. Wigglebuff did put up a good fight, especially in the first set, but Unholy does get the better of them in today's matchup. But stay tuned. Don't go anywhere just yet. We will be right back for our next match, which is Void Heart versus Arcadia. So the stream will be restarted in just a quick moment, and we'll be back for that matchup. It will be some Cannibal and Krasu sets. So enjoy, everybody. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time.